Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of Ed Buck, who was sentenced for 30 years in prison for administering illegal substances to certain types of men at his West Hollywood apartment. Now these were predominantly African American men and mostly vulnerable men, like homeless people. Two of these men, a certain Gemmel Moore, age 26, and Timothy Dean, age 55, passed away at his house as a result of this, at least that's alleged, both of whom were said to have overdosed at his apartment. Now, according to prosecution, Buck used his money and privilege to exploit the wealth and power imbalances between himself and his victims, who were unhoused, destitute, and or struggling with addiction. He spent thousands of dollars on drugs and party and play sessions that destroyed lives and bred insidious addictions, according to Chelsea Norrell, who is an assistant U.S. attorney. Now, he had the nickname Dr. Kevorkian, and according to some, he had at least 10 victims and would sometimes administer these substances to people while they were unconscious. One victim claimed he was unable to move after he got injected with a tranquilizer. Later added that Buck wanted him to leave his home, and when that happened, Ed Buck became frustrated and obtained a power saw from a closet, turned it on, and approached the victim with it. Prosecutors urged the judge to sentence Buck to life in prison, saying that he used human beings as playthings, destroying their lives merely to appease his own gratification, and his attorneys sought a 10-year sentence rather than relegating him to death in prison. They asked the judge to consider his own addictions, which they say he developed because of a medical condition and the abuse he suffered at the hands of his father and several priests. What led to his arrest was the account of Dane Brown, who was another young black man. At the time, he was homeless, and he moved into Buck's apartment, where Buck frequently injected him with those substances, sometimes several times a day, according to Brown. He was hospitalized in September 2019, where he had been given 3 back-to-back doses, putting 5 times the amount of a certain substance in his system than Moore and Dean had when they died, according to prosecutors. It says here, Dane Brown returned to Buck's home weeks later, where Buck again injected him and refused to help him, he said. Dane sat on the couch, resigned to the same fate as Moore and Dean, when he heard his deceased mother cry out to him, "Get up, Dane," Norrell said. Then he escaped Buck's home and made it to a nearby gas station, where he called for help and was taken to a hospital. His harrowing account of being revived twice finally led to Buck's arrest. Now, Ed Buck was active in gay causes and animal rights issues, and he had given more than $500,000, mostly to Democratic politicians and causes, since 2000. Now, this is also one of the reasons why some people suspect that maybe he was sent to jail because of that, because of his support for the Democratic Party. So on the one hand, he's been convicted, and on the other hand, we have people who are suspecting that there may be some type of foul play. Either way, none of us were actually there to tell what exactly happened. But since there are questions about the case, that's why we're going to do a reading on it today. We're going to start off with the Deviant Moon deck, which is already on the table. And for any further questions, moving on to the Muse deck, which is this one. So as per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the cards. As soon as I have a table full of them, we're going to stop and take a look. So without much further ado, let's get started. Okay, we're starting off with a lot of cards actually for a first round. Let's take a look what we've got. We've got the 9 of Swords, we've got the 6 of Wands, and the 8 of Cups. Okay, so there is some anxiety here but also a sensation of being celebrated and not really wanting to walk away. Well, Eight of Cups is usually trying to walk away from certain feelings, so maybe they are trying to walk away from something in order to stay in this celebrated mode over here. Kind of like they're afraid of perhaps losing this status right here. I don't know why that would be, but we'll take a look later. But in any case, we have that going on right off the bat. So they feel like they're celebrated, but there is anxiety here, and they kind of want to walk away from something without walking away from this, I imagine, because most people do like to be celebrated. So I imagine that they're not trying to get away from that, but maybe something else that they were worried about that kind of only really affected them when they were alone, where people could not see, I guess, what it is that they were anxious about. We have next the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So things are turning for the worst. We have the Seven of Pentacles, reaping what you sow. And then an Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So we're making some investments here that are not panning out for us. So maybe the anxiety that they had over here is coming to light. At least they're seeing something ripening on the vine here. And it's not something that they're particularly happy about, because this Seven of Pentacles is not particularly happy with the result of what they have been planting. It's like they're testing the water here by kind of poking the tree to see if any of the bloodletting might be able to make things more positive, trying to kind of control how things come out. But that is not a good investment right here, because the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So perhaps due to a certain investment, maybe, that they are starting to see some results coming in, which are not great. The next card that we have over here is, I believe, the Seven of Wands. Yep, Seven of Wands in reverse. This is them being challenged in their positions. So this top row is actually a very quick turnaround. We're starting off with, we're kind of afraid about something, but we are celebrated. We don't really want to walk away from that. And then things suddenly change, and then, oh my God, everything's coming to fruition. They try to do something to try and maybe fix the issue, but we're still being challenged here. So there is something, I think whatever the anxiety was is being brought to light somehow. Let's move these guys down for a bit. Next row, we have the Five of Swords in reverse. This might be an internal struggle or some type of struggle behind the closed doors. We have a fort in the background with a white flag, so somebody has given up, somebody who may be from an established order or something. In the foreground, we are in the limelight here with the World. People are looking at us, and this also closes a chapter, because this is the Death card of this deck. And looks like there's definitely something else coming down the line for them, because this Death figure appears to be pregnant. They have like a really big belly there. So it's like they are pushing another chapter down into the ground because they got something else coming up over there. With the World next to that, of course, this is a very public ending that we are looking at, even though they are arguing in private over there. King of Swords is somebody who is fairly manipulative with their words. And then we have the Sun. So it might be that they are pretending that things are great. This may be a lying tactic, this may be a manipulation tactic, and perhaps also putting on a brave face of things, noticing this World over here. So maybe they are trying to like give a certain public appearance with this King of Swords in reverse and the Sun upright. So a lot of saving face there. Meanwhile, though, we are looking for ways out of this, because we have the Two of Wands here, which is definitely digging for some new options over here. Currently, they're only digging up what looks like garlic. Two of Wands usually is a person standing on the edge of like a fortress and overlooking the land with a globe in his hand, kind of similar to what this person has. Like making plans, but not necessarily being able to execute those plans. Then we have the Nine of Wands, which is somebody who is very tired of fighting. It could be that they had all sorts of plans that they wanted to try and bring into fruition, but they just did not have the energy. So this may be an attempt to strike out into a different direction, which was not going to be an option. Then the bottom three that came in last. we have the Five of Pentacles, so kind of like being thrown to the wolves, out and abandoned in a cold and dark town where nobody wants to let you in. Two of Cups, maybe trying to make connections with people, and a Page of Swords, perhaps also saying things in a rather rash manner, which may not be truthful or accepted without people coming for their, I guess, their words, something along those lines. It is also kind of rashly spoken. Usually the Page is a very juvenile energy, so this may be somebody coming up with excuses on the last minute, something along those lines. But in any case, they feel very much dejected, even though they are trying to reach out to people, possibly in ways that are not positive. So maybe trying to get people on their side by perhaps twisting the truth a little bit. Also noticing that over here with the Two of Cups, we are noticing that it is exactly midnight, not even 5 minutes to midnight, but more like last minute, last ditch effort to try and get people on their side type of thing is what's happening here, because they feel so dejected. So far, we've got a very quick story unfolding here, starting off with them being some type of publicly celebrated person, and then very quickly falling from that pedestal into some very dark times over here, which are kind of public and also very tiring. Now, I do feel like there is something to this challenge that they have been going through because of this first card right here with the Nine of Swords. Like, there's definitely a lot of anxiety there. Like, people can be very anxious, like imposter syndrome, that type of thing. Like, oh my God, if only they don't figure out that I'm doing this, because then they won't think as highly of me as they did before, like that type of thing. And that being brought to light and causing all of this chaos definitely seems like something generally worth worrying about, whereas before they were celebrated. So there's definitely something here that people are coming for them for, which seems to point toward there at least being some truth to the whole story about what he was doing there in his West Hollywood apartment. Let's grab the Muse deck to see what else we need to know about this case. That one. Is it one? Yes, it's one. Okay. Nine of Wands, because inspiration is the Wands suit, and this is the 9 again. We had the 9 here already, so the tired of fighting is becoming even more clear, because in reverse I tend to see that as an internal process. It could be that it is a long-term wariness of the situation that they are currently finding themselves in. So the energy is definitely being sapped here, because normally the Nine of Wands, like upright, it's already a problem. You're already kind of tired, but in reverse, it's something that's been going on for a while, where normally the Wands would be a very fiery suit, which give you energy and drive and motivation, that type of thing. But this is more like the drive being sapped out of you, basically. The wind taking out of your sails. Nope. That one just kind of rolled off the top. What do we have here? Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so this could be a new initiative. I kind of feel like we're throwing money at the problem. That's kind of like what this Ace of Pentacles seems to point towards, but this time is more effective, because before we had this one as well, this Ace of Pentacles, I think used in a similar fashion to try and control the situation, but that one didn't work out quite right. This one is a little bit more successful, so this may end up causing for some more positive things for them to happen. Let's see what else. Yeah, no, maybe. That one, we have the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so even though we are putting some new resources into, I guess, trying to resolve this, they are not spent well. Like, this seems almost like this money might be going to his defense attorney or something along those lines, and they are not doing their job right, or they're just not getting the right resources in for the case, because of course they tried to defend him, I think because they said, well, consider his own medical addiction because of medical issues and his history and stuff like that, but that was not the right tactic. At least the resources that he spent on his defense or on his case in general did not pan out. Could have been done better. Okay, so we have a whole stack here. I'm not going to grab the entire stack, but I will grab the top one because we've already seen that one. So that's you. Flip it over so we can grab some more later. The devil is here. Alright, so interesting that the devil came in with a whole stack, but we're not going to grab the entire stack. But this does point towards there being something going on that he cannot shake very well. Also, I've not had this card before from this deck, so that's interesting. Let's take a look at it. So we've got a person down there who appears to be bound by some type of cloth, like bandages. And up there we have two figures surrounding some type of fiery entity with a portal down there. So almost like a light at the end of the tunnel, but we're not going to do that. We're ignoring that. We're staying right here where we apparently still feel comfortable, even though it's something that is trapping us. So there is that. Could also be that these resources were not spent properly because there is just this addiction here. Maybe the actual physical addiction could also be an addiction to a certain type of behavior that they have found themselves engaging in, so they cannot leave that alone well enough. Okay. 10 of Inspiration on its side, and that would be the 10 of Wands. Yeah, 10 of Wands is normally like trying to cast something off because you're near the end of your journey and you, in this case, just cannot or will not, which I think is a good follow-up for the devil here, because it's kind of like I said, they don't really want to go through the portal. They just kind of feel comfortable where they are, and therefore they're just like, it's a burden, but do I really want to let it go? Like they're kind of enjoying it, even though it is bothersome and it may cause them some issues. So this may be also in reference to whatever private activities that he had going on, which have of course already been discussed. But due to YouTube's policies, I cannot repeat what he did exactly in those exact words, but we know what it was. That is still controlling him, but he's also not really looking to cast that off. Like there's definitely something there that he does not want to get rid of, and this will definitely not have helped him in his case. Knight of Pentacles. All right, so we are or at least we're trying to be practical with this Knight of Pentacles, because Knight of Pentacles is often a very practical character. We usually plan things ahead. This may be something that they have done beforehand. Like they may have anticipated way over here that something like this may happen, so they may already have something prepared in the background that they could potentially use or think that they could use in this case. So maybe they had a plan to explain what they were doing in the event of being found out, like that type of thing. And how successful was that plan, or did it actually get used? Because even though you have a plan doesn't mean that you're actually going to put it in action or get a chance to do so. Okay, so 10 of Materials, which is the 10 of Pentacles. The plan, I'm guessing, is money, to put it like bluntly. And also, I think, goodwill of the people, because, of course, he was donating to some good charities and making political donations. So I think that their plan was also those donations. Like, in the event of people finding out what I do in my private life, I'm hoping that all the goodwill that I have caused or planted seeds for with other people by donating will help me out. Like that was possibly the plan as well. Almost like, okay, yeah, I'm doing this in my private life, but I'm doing this in the public life. Like, look at that. This is so much better than this, right? It kind of outweighs the other. Like that was possibly the plan that he had. Like aside from their defense lawyers going for, well, consider the fact that he has his own issues. Also possibly trying the tactic of, but look at all the good he's doing in society. Like that might be some softening factors, something along those lines. That may have been what they were hoping would help. Oh, that one just kind of flipped on its own. Then we have the Ace of Emotions, Ace of Cups in reverse. So perhaps this was not the outpouring of support that he was hoping for. So the plan to get people to come to his defense based on all the donations that he's making did not pan out. Nothing much is coming. I think that the Muse deck is currently done talking, so I'm going to go back to the Deviant Moon, and then I could maybe get some cards on whether or not this was planned by somebody, by which I mean like maybe somebody already knew about what he was doing but was keeping quiet for as long as it was useful, like that type of thing, because that also sometimes happens with people. Let's see what we can get about that, like from that type of perspective. Okay, that's two of them. We have the Three of Pentacles. All right, working together, but not in a positive sense. And another Knight of Pentacles. Okay. So I was just saying, like, maybe there's somebody who knew about it and possibly kept quiet about the things he was doing until it was such a time that they no longer wanted him around. Like, that happens sometimes. And now we're looking at the Three of Pentacles, which is definitely working together, some type of cooperation going on here, and another Knight of Pentacles. So we have this Knight of Pentacles versus, come on, this one versus that one. And I'm thinking that this one over here, unfortunately, was not as crafty as they thought. So this would probably be Ed trying to make a contingency plan for his own activities. And on the other side, we have a couple of people, or maybe just the one, who was also working on things. But this one is much more methodical. It's very mechanical, as you can see. So, and also colder. So I think this Knight of Pentacles had a plan long before this Knight of Pentacles had a plan. So possibly there was somebody whom was already aware of what he was doing and kind of didn't say anything about it because they wanted to use it later, like blackmail, that type of thing. Then we have the Five of Cups. Okay, so with this we have a couple of cups that have fallen on the ground, and we have two cups still on the ledge. Maybe they had a falling out, these two, or whoever this group over here is. Like, this card seems to show like an old married couple, and they have a falling out over there, and things have spilled, and now they're very upset with them, and it looks as though she is much more powerful than he is. And it's kind of like, well, not that the other person is definitely a she, but more like on this card, looks as though a she and a he. So she seems to be in control of this and kind of lording things over this other person. So they may have actually held it over their head previously as well, like kind of a reminder, like, oh, if you ever do anything I don't like, make sure to remember that I know all this stuff, right? So there may have already been some threats in the past. Let's go back to, no, actually, no, it's okay. We still have a whole bunch of Muse deck over here. I was going to say I'm going to use the other one, otherwise it gets more confusing. We're staying with Deviant Moon for a while. So we have somebody who knew beforehand, it seems, and they had already threatened him with it. Let's see what else we can find out about that, like what may have happened that made them come out then. So this one's on its side, this one's in reverse. Three of Swords. Okay, so there may have been an interference there in their working relationship, and then the strength left them. But what is this card over here? Let's take a look what we got. Okay, so that caused a falling out. So maybe there was this situation where they're like, okay, as long as you can keep this or that under control, I can keep supporting you and I'm going to just ignore things. But then there was a little too much interruptions, and I'm feeling like this is more of a three is a charm or the straw that breaks the camel's back type of thing, because he had two previous instances with two people passing away at his house, and then we had Dane Brown, and that third one managed to get away, and I feel like that is almost how they were no longer able to support them after that, because now we're super in the public eye and this person lived to tell the tale, and therefore there was no more things that they could do or wanted to do in order to keep that association with them, I suppose, because we're putting it right next to this three of pentacles over there. So there was the final falling out with this other person. Now, are we ever going to figure out who this other person is who made this all basically finally come to light? Well, not come to light because that was Dane, but more like he's finally being made to fall. All right, we have the High Priestess in reverse. Okay, so this person does not want to be found. I think this, person is somebody who knows a thing or two about secrecy, and it's definitely not intuitive for us to figure out who this person is. So it may be somebody who we would never expect for it to have been. Maybe somebody who was normally on their side, like it does say over here that they work together, so it could be somebody who has been working with them for a long time and appears to have had the same goals, which is maybe why they kept it going for so long. And now we're looking at the breaking up of that connection, because there was just too much that they could no longer hide or support them. Okay, this is quite a small stack, but I will grab it. We have the King of Pentacles. Okay, so somebody who may potentially be spending a lot of money for the wrong thing, or maybe trying to make sure things happen exactly how they like them, because the King of Pentacles is normally very practical. Could be that they're putting everything to work in their power that they can in order to get their will carried out. So this may also be another very influential person who may also have donated or something, or at least worked with a lot of money for similar causes, it may seems like. And then we have here the Nine of Cups. All right, so they're not feeling too bad about that. Maybe they're actually relieved now that the genie is out of the bottle, literally. Like, okay, I've been holding on to this for so long, and now finally it's out there. I feel great. I don't have to live with this secret anymore. Like, that type of energy is what I'm getting from this card in particular. We have some communication here with the Eight of Wands. Could be that they're informing other people, or that they were starting to spread information as well. They may have, like, in the background been working on spreading information because they are hard at work over here, letting other people play the role of the messenger over there with the crow in the background. They are evading judgment, possibly because they are somebody whom is already of note, but maybe in the background as well, because this Hierophant is in reverse. Could be that they are somebody whom is very much hidden, even though they do have quite a lot of influence in certain circles, it would appear. And they have a lot of people in their pocket. As you can see, they've got a person in their pocket right there, even though they're sitting there looking all pious. So I think that they are also not going to reveal themselves anytime soon, and potentially will have a lot of respect from people who do know that they are around, who respect them anyway. Like I said, Judgment in reverse, they are going to evade judgment themselves. They can probably take care of that themselves as well. I get the feeling this is somebody who could very easily undo people and their careers, even though a lot of people may not be aware of them publicly. So this is somebody who works in the background and has a lot of sway there. But to the public eye, they may not seem very unusual or very interesting. So I'm guessing that they pulled some strings in order to get this whole thing carried out. So quick summary, if I'm looking at all these cards and the ones underneath, it looks as though he used to work with somebody or multiple people, and that would be Ed, and they knew about what he did in the background. And I feel like that also points toward the allegations having at least some merits, at least enough that he got convicted for it. But I think that these people also really knew about that, and for whatever reasons, they kept it hidden until he did something and did something that they were like, yeah, no, I cannot support this anymore. And then they were like, nope, I gotta cut these ties, and we're just going to get rid of all this stuff right now because it's too much, it's too messy, and I no longer have need for you, or at least I don't want to be associated with you, or something along those lines. So that's why they decided to take action then and not sooner, when they found out about all the stuff he was doing previously. This may be somebody who has a lot of strings that they can pull and has quite a lot of sway within certain circles, and may have had similar goals to Ed as well. May still have similar goals, but now is doing those things without Ed there to help him along, I suppose. And due to their position, they probably will not see any type of judgment or kind of political, or public scrutiny. That's the word I'm looking for. So it doesn't really look like they did this because of whom he was donating to. It was more like he was just doing things, and after a while they could no longer stand by the sidelines and just let him continue because it was getting too messy, probably also potentially implicating them as well. So it seems like more of a selfish act to blow the whistle, so to speak, on this whole affair. Anyway, that is what I'm seeing for Ed Buck. I hope you found that interesting. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below. If you want to leave a like, that's also appreciated. If you want to subscribe, that's even more appreciated. In any case, I hope to see you in another video. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.